The new normal. Welcome, everyone. So, fight against COVID 19 is far from over. Everyone remains at risk. This is Inamullah Siddiqui, I'm Director of Cybersecurity for one of the energy entities in Pakistan. Transitioning from a new normal to a new future, this is what we are looking at. In February 2020, that seemed unthinkable that entire white collar workforce of many countries would be working from home, especially in this region, as we talk about Pakistan, where work from home would have never been imagined at that point of time. But now, most of the organizations have opted for that. Nobody imagined that air travel would have plummeted by 96%. The impact is enormous. The impact is on the global order, how COVID 19 has altered the structure of the international systems. We talk about societies and economies, how COVID 19 has affected the structure of societies and economies at the national, provincial, and at the city level. We talk about firms and markets, how COVID 19 has impacted the firms and markets that we operate today, how COVID 19 has affected the individual behavior and household structure. What we have not realized was now the realization is a low probability and high impact level of risk that we are looking at. Remote work has transformed talent management. With this, on this panel, I've got some fire sessions here with one of the most renowned persons, Mr. Farrukh Khan. He is the CEO of Pakistan Stock Exchange, a chartered accountant, hold a BA honors in economics and finance from the University of Manchester. With over 30 years of senior management and board level experience, Farrukh has been an experienced entrepreneur and leading business and financial advisory and advised on many landmark transactions. So, welcome, Mr. Farrukh Khan, to the panel.
Thank you so much, G. Pleasure to be here, and thank you for inviting me.
Player is all ours. So, opportunity, of course, with this COVID 19 opportunity, there is, of course, an opportunity to make and enable a better working world as well, with better health, better connectivity, better relationships, better ingenuity, better accountability. So, how do you think, Farooq, that how agile is PSX in terms of responding to the business needs and emerging threats?
Thank you. As you said, it has been a challenging time period, but I'm happy to report that PSX has met the challenges successfully. When the COVID pandemic started picking up steam back in February of this year and March, and we felt that some sort of lockdown actions were imminent. We reviewed our BCP policies, our disaster recovery protocols, very, very thoroughly. And when the lockdowns happened, we were able to continue operating, without any disruption. So unlike some of the other regional markets that did have to close down because of lockdowns in their regions and countries, PSX, we had about 90% of our people, working from home, and only very few staff needed to come into the office. So all the SOPs, etc., were obviously, extremely well maintained. We continue to operate successfully without any kind of disruption, throughout this period. And one of the lessons we learned was that, you're only as strong as your weakest link in your chain. And we had to work very closely with many of our brokers and other participants in the capital markets ecosystem to make sure that they also were able to operate, because it would not be possible for PSX to keep operating if the ecosystem around it wasn't functioning well. So we took that upon as our responsibility as well to help them, cope with this unprecedented situation.
That makes absolute sense. So as we know that the organizations are moving with technological advancements, and we talk about blockchain as trading platform and use of AI data sets and more. So what do you think, keeping in view of the threat landscape, what innovation is desired to compete in world economy, especially in the context of stock exchange, Pakistan?
So, stock exchanges all over the world are regrettably targets of attacks, whether physical or cyber. So, all exchanges in the world, and you saw recently, the New Zealand Stock Exchange had to stop operating because of some unfortunate such attacks, and we also regularly face such attacks. And so far, thank God, we've managed to fend them off and have continued operating. But it does mean that it's a constant cycle of innovation and keeping up to date with new emerging threats. Now, something like a blockchain, although it was thought that it was unhackable, but apparently not so, and your and your participants would know more about it than I do. But certainly that is something which is said to be extremely secure. We are not using, and I don't think any of the stock exchanges globally so far are using blockchain as a basic trading platform. But we are constantly upgrading our technological defenses to make sure that we continue to operate fully and without any disruptions. We are currently going through a major upgrade of our trading system. We have bought the state-of-the-art trading system from the Shenzhen Stock Exchange, which provides both enhanced levels of security as well as speed of trading as well as surveillance. So that's a major sort of step forward from where we are today, and we hope to have it up and running by early next year.
That is so correct. Having a strong and robust environment would help succeed our businesses at all levels. And yeah, absolutely spot on. So, as we had all braced the COVID-19 experience, so how do you find that kind of a differentiating factor as compared to the work that was being done before COVID-19? That's one. And also would like to understand how we are prepared in terms of bracing another COVID-19 that is ongoing at this point of time.
From a Pakistan context, the challenges of COVID-19 have been unprecedented for every country in the world, really just about. So it's brought home the common humanity, that we all have, which sometimes we lose sight of. Obviously the lockdowns have vastly accelerated the trend towards digital in all spheres, whether it's meetings like this, whether it's in our trading platforms. So a lot more investors and clients are using digital platforms for trading than they used to before. It's similar for banks, and I'm sure it's similar for many businesses. But I think that there are also deeper changes. As I said, the realization that we all inhabit, the same city, country, continent, and the world, and our challenges that we face are actually in the end common and can only be handled by working together. So I think that's also an important deeper change, not necessarily linked to technology or digital, but I think without that realization, the trend towards more digital and being able to have the confidence that if I'm placing everything on a digital platform that I can't see or touch, that it's going to be safe, is I think that understanding is important. Um, but we are continuing to see both in our way of working, even though Pakistan has thankfully coped much better than many countries in the world with this pandemic. Our infection rates, fertility rates are much better, even though they're increasing in the second wave. But we are having to follow all the SOPs, but we haven't had to go into any kind of even sort of half lockdowns, as it were, as many countries are having to. So I hope that continues. But certainly we all need to be very careful, and we need to follow all the SOPs, for handling this pandemic.
So we have seen. Thank you, Farrukh. So we have seen stock exchange in the context of Pakistan. They've risen towards digitalization to a great extent, and as you've rightly mentioned, that the recent implementation of new and robust trading platform from the Shenzhen Stock Exchange. How how do you find the customer confidence in terms of data security? Is there any means that could be evaluated?
So I think, as I mentioned just now, giving that confidence to the consumer is extremely important. And
Yeah,
there are many people who are not comfortable for different reasons in going completely digital. So how do we? I think it's a question of both giving them the confidence, but
yeah,
also giving the products being so customer centric that it's easy for people who may not be so tech savvy to be able to use these products as well. So they don't have to call their broker, they don't have to go into a branch network, but the product is not easy enough for them to be able to understand, then they will revert back to those traditional ways of doing their work, or their business. So I think that is our responsibility, to give that confidence as well as see things from the customer's point of view, which is always a mantra, but not often properly executed. Um, so I think those are the challenges, but we are certainly seeing greater and greater adoption of our customer base, and our platform is completely electronic. So all trading happens on an electronic platform, and as I said, and that's been functioning well for a couple of well over 2 decades now. All the data, we had set up two separate companies, a clearinghouse and a central depository, and they also have state-of-the-art systems. So the entire stock market is actually dematerialized, and those are held with the Central Depository Company of Pakistan. And their systems have also given customers the confidence, because they've moved ahead and gotten other segments of the economy to also come and dematerialize their assets with them. And that obviously is critical for electronic trading.
quite right. And I'm sure whenever we talk about organizational governance, and there's always a thing that always come into my mind, that like tone at the top. And what do you think the role of executive management and board of directors ensure that the stock exchange have the right resources to respond to, in terms of not only having a robust organizational structure but also responding to the cyber threats that are so imminent these days?
Like for all risks, the board of directors carries and must carry the ultimate responsibility. So it is important for the boards to firstly understand the issues. Often the boards may not be as familiar with some of the new technologies and some of the new, not just risks, but also the opportunities. Because
Yeah.
we must also understand that whereas the going digital brings risks with it, it also brings immense opportunities. The board has to also, I think, understand that. And our board is extremely proactive. in focusing on both the risk management side as well as the opportunities. And as I mentioned, one of the key things there is this new trading platform. It's a large $5 million project, and will vastly enhance our ability to introduce new products as well as enhancing security. So, absolutely no two ways about it. The board has to understand and carry the responsibility for both risk management as well as taking advantage of the opportunities, because the market doesn't wait for anyone. If you don't take advantage of the opportunities, someone else surely will.
Yeah. And since this is a global CISO forum, as you understand that we are all at the brink of always thinking about anything from a cybersecurity aspect happening. So, how do you think Pakistan's stock exchange is prepared in terms of any cybersecurity? God forbid anything happens. How prepared we are? Do we have a communication strategy to cope up with those challenges and things like that?
So, the threats can come in different ways, right? So,
Yeah.
you need to have, robust disaster recovery facilities. So we have that in place and have had that for many, many years. And those came under full testing when we went into lockdowns. And when we also had, we've had just about everything thrown at us in the last few months, from the lockdown to a terrorist attack to record rainfalls, which cut off large parts of the city. And thank God we kept operating without a minute's disruption through all of those. So we've pushed and tested our BCP and DR protocols in live situations, not just in terms of testing environment. Then we have a obviously our IT department has to carry the primary responsibility, but we have a dedicated CISO or information security department as well, and a risk management department, which retests and is responsible for the overall management of cyber as well as other risks, for the exchange. And I think that is important to have such dedicated resources to be able to manage the risk, because risks, particularly on the cyber side, are ever evolving. Just because you were ready yesterday or that you're ready today, by no means is an assurance that you'll be ready tomorrow. So you have to have the resources and the people who can constantly stay up to date and be able to do whatever is necessary to protect your systems.
Farooq, that is a super comment actually, because the risks are evolving. If you're prepared, yesterday, you're not sure what would happen next, and this is what we all brace for in terms of cybersecurity, and of course the other risk as well. You mentioned disaster recovery preparedness, and I'm sure this would give a lot of investor confidence that we are prepared and ready to brace any kind of, whether it's a terrorist attack, whether it's a technological attack, and I'm sure a full gratitude to Stock Exchange, their team, the IT department, the risk management. They are all market players involved in that, and greatly appreciate that. So, as before we conclude, I would like to give you just a 2 minute your talk directly to the audience, if you like to communicate directly to them and have a direct conversation before I close that session.
Sure, sir. Happy to take any questions.
Yes. Okay. So let's see if we have any questions here. Okay. So about the data loss prevention, uh, do we have a data loss prevention strategy and a program in place within the stock exchange?
Yes, as I said, and that's part of our disaster recovery protocol. That if there is for any reason a data loss, that there are backups there, and in fact, in the new system that we'll install, we'll be able to recommence trading almost instantaneously. Within seconds of any such data loss, the backup systems will kick in.
Okay, I think
I think another,
we did not have. Yeah, go ahead, please.
sorry, I was just saying. I think another thing which is important is that you know we as an exchange, not only do we have to use digital and technology to increase the investor base and to help improve the trading experience for investors, and that we are working closely with brokers to help do that. And the new trading system will give even more capability with new products like introduction of options and other products on the PSX platform. But also, we have recently launched what we call the GEM market, the growth enterprise market, because to help grow the fintech or technology or the SME sector within Pakistan. This will be now new avenue of raising capital for such companies. So I just thought I'll mention that as some of your audience may be interested.
Thank you. That would be greatly helpful. And there is one last question, and we're just 2 minutes on the clock. So, what are some of the initiatives that you have started to train and educate staff on cybersecurity practices?
So, as I said, we have a dedicated, risk management and CISO group, and they are primarily responsible for it. Um, in terms of both educating our team members as well as implementing, and this particularly became important because suddenly a lot of the risk management protocols were thrown out of the window when everyone moved out of the secure internet environment in the office and had to start working from home.
Yeah.
So that meant not just implementation of new protocols, but also education and making people realize the risks that they were now carrying and how to manage those risks for their own sake as well as for the sake of the PSX, because they were used to working in a secure environment and now they were working perhaps on open Wi-Fi's at home, etc. We had to do quite a lot of effort, and most people learned very quickly that how they should manage that risk. And really, I would commend our risk management group and our IT department for managing that phase extremely well without any untoward incident.
Many thanks, Farooq, for your valuable comments, feedback, input. Really appreciate your time, and it provides a lot of help to this whole part of the community, and especially the security community, because work from home has its own norms, structures that needs to be followed, and of course there are better cyber hygiene practices that we need to adopt as a whole. So would that mean that we should go back to the old normal if we don't stay vigilant and protect ourselves? So we have to be very, very careful. We need to continue deploy computing power, bandwidth, and cloud, and cybersecurity are going to be the winners. With that, I'll end up and really appreciate again, Farooq, for your time and thank you very much.
Thank you so much.